How's it going, y'all? It's turn-based here. Now, last video I made a tier list going over the synergies with Miku's A1 for every unit currently in the game. However, now that Miku's actually been released and we've had time to test her and we've been able to figure out how she really works, I got a lot wrong in that video. So much so that I really wanted to make a new video and go back over some of the decisions that I had made in the old video and change the placements, get some new information on how the rotations have changed. Some of the characters' placements have definitely been altered by some of this new information, so I just wanted to go over them with you so that we can, make sure that y'all are well equipped for your higher investment pulls. I think the first thing we need to talk about is Miku's skill rotation, and specifically her skill 3, because I got the skill 3 really wrong. I thought the skill 3 would happen kind of like Anj's gimmick would happen, where after everybody had taken their turn, then you would get the extra turns, like they would come after everybody has taken their turns, but it's not like that. Skill 3 actually starts the virtual concert immediately, so the big damage turns come first, and then you get everybody's normal turn after the concert has ended. So the last two turns, the turns 7 and 8 that I was saying where you want to stack all the damage, you actually don't want to do that. You actually want to stack the damage kind of in the middle of the rotation. It's a little bit different from what I was saying, and that actually changes a lot of how these characters interact with Miku, some for better, some for worse. And I just think that we should probably look at some of the updated rotations. First, let's look at Panthers, because I think Panther is one that's very simple and easy to understand. Alright, so here, as you can see, I've updated the graphic to add the new Miku rotation, where instead of using her new skill 3 on turns 7 and 8, she's doing it on turns 5 and 6. And what this does is it just changes where you're getting all the damage from. This doesn't actually change kind of anything. Like if you see you're still getting one of those big damage turns on the same turn that we're getting the virtual concert, because we have the highlight cooldown reset, we're actually still going to get these highlights because the highlights are calculated independently of the virtual concert when you're using your A1. So you're still going to get this rotation. I actually think you might have to switch this highlight to here instead, but the way I have been testing it, I think that you actually don't really need to worry about the highlights as much when you're changing these kinds of things. Again, we're kind of doing an A1 analysis, so what we're trying to do, or even A2 really, it's really just about stacking all that damage on those big turns, because that's where the damage is going to come from the most. We also now know two things about the highlights and theurgies. The highlights charge at double the rate, and the theurgies charge at double the rate, which is like crazy. That actually is huge for a lot of highlight damage dealers. They will be firing off more highlights. They also they will be getting more buffs from like Chord and other characters like that. So it's not all lost. This doesn't really change much, and that's why I wanted to start with Panther, because I think, as you can see, like some characters it doesn't change, it's just a matter of when you're using it, but you could probably imagine there are characters where this matters significantly. So let's get into some of our revisions. Alright, first thing I want to talk about is, we'll just go left to right. We're going to talk about Fox. Fox is one of those characters that I need to make an A1 for, because Fox's A1, I didn't realize this at first, Fox's A1 does activate his counterattack automatically, and he can get additional activations of that whenever he has Miku. So it's not all hope is lost. Again, I don't think this is anti, but I'll put this in like, low synergy. I think that having enough ways to trigger the additional skill 3s is valuable. It's not nothing. But again, just having those big damage turns, losing out the counterattacks is kind of dangerous. Or not dangerous, it just sucks. And that's why I think Fox actually does benefit from Miku at his A1, just because you get the additional activations of the imagination stacks, where he can use the counterattack with the buffed damage, even when the enemies aren't attacking. So put him there for now. Another character that I think, like, a lot of these characters don't change, like I think Joker has the same problems. Joker might actually be a little bit better because, you don't really have to worry about stacking damage. He just kind of spits out the damage whenever it comes, and that's going to be during the virtual concert no matter what your rotation is. Again, I don't know if that's changing his synergy level. It just makes him a little easier to use. All of these characters kind of still have the same thing. The Tropical Heart stuff, again, it's still going to be the same. So we're good. And you can also activate the virtual concert on turn 6 instead of 5, which shifts back the rotation by 1. So a lot of these 2-turn damage dealers that have like a 3-turn or 4-turn gimmick to them, so that's like that'll be like Crow, it'll be Bozaha, it'll be a lot of these, or if like we're using the skill 1, skill 2 thing with Rin, that doesn't change anything. So we're good there. That's a good level there. So best. Haru is another one that this does not really change much at all. In fact, you still get the 2-3-3 rotation with Miku, and if you use the virtual concert on turn 5, you get turns 5 and 6 as your big damage turns, and Haru's big damage turns are going to come on 2, 5, and 8 if you have a 1. So doesn't change anything there. Maybe you'd like to have it where her big damage turn comes on turn 6 instead of turn 5 with A1, but like, you know, it's not a big deal really. Like a lot of this stuff, like the main thing I'm noticing with the Miku rotations is like, because the damage turns are going to be 5 and 6, a lot of the 3-turn characters like are going to benefit well from that, and the last 2 turns are kind of going to be nothing. And then for the 2-turn characters, it works really well for their damage because they're always going to have damage on the even turns. Some of the weirder units have like some changes with that. Like I was looking at Makoto's rotation. Makoto I don't think changes anything just because of the nature of her crash out state. Like just getting 3 full activations of it I think is good enough there. But it is important to note, like for Makoto, that she doesn't have both turns of the virtual concert in the crash out stage. She'll always have one of those, unless you're at like a lower awareness, which it doesn't matter, but she's gonna have one of those turns is gonna be the regular turn, and then one of those turns is gonna be the crash out turn. So just something to note there. And then in terms of our DPS, like our assassins, single target DPSs, everything here is going to stay the same, I think. In fact, I might even put Frostkill Katoni up even more, just now understanding how valuable the highlights are, how much damage that they do in the virtual concert. I mean, she's just really crazy there. She's really, really, really good. So, you know, I'm going to keep everyone here. One thing I don't think I mentioned about Makoto last video is 2 things. One, she is getting a Mindscape. I think I said last video that she wasn't, or that she was like totally useless. I think she's getting a commenter said that she's getting a Mindscape soon, so that can factor into this. But also, like, her elemental ailments, because they don't wear off on the enemy, I think that's another thing that's like important to note. So you don't have to use Vino, for example. You can just use the skill 1, and then skill 3s will just deal the damage with the highlights. You don't have to have like an A4 queen where she's like applying the ailments through her crash out highlight, and like, if you want to maximize the damage, you want to have the ailments always on them, and I think Miku helps her do that without like a dedicated buffer. So that's something to note. Everyone else is perfectly normal here, so we're not going to go over that, except the C's units. Now, I think the C's units I should probably talk about all together, so I'll hold off on that for now. But the C's units got a lot different, because now we know that it's a double charge, best case scenario, basically. I mean, that's really important. In terms of our support, I actually have already changed this one. I'll have to change this one. So in terms of best supports, Chord is a character I feel like I got super wrong on. Like I did not get this right at all, and I'm sorry for that. So let's go ahead and look at how her rotation actually looks, not like I was saying it looks. Alright, so the main thing I wanted to touch on is that Chord's kit does not work how I said it worked. This is because I didn't know that Chord Chord had this additional mechanic in her kit based on her skill 3. But the way it works is you get the skill 3 on a 1-turn cooldown at the start of the fight, and after you use it is on a 3-turn cooldown, or 2-turn cooldown, so use it in 3 turns. But what I didn't realize is that the cooldown increases every turn after you use it. So what that means is that if you go skill 3 on turn 2 and skill 3 on turn 5, the cooldown for turn 8 isn't 2 turns, it's 3 turns. Which means that her real rotation is skill 3 here, skill 3 here, and then she uses it on turn 9. she has to wait 3 whole turns in the middle. So she does not get an additional activation of skill 3. She loses a ton of damage there, and that is like a really big loss. I mean, I was going on the assumption that you were getting 3 Catchy Hooks. Like, that is huge. But no, you don't. You only get it on, you know, skill 3. Now, good news. The highlight stuff still works really well with Miku. I think that having the highlight cooldown refresh is still going to be valuable, and she's still going to work really well with Barry and all those other characters. And I think that this is really like, this is more of just a setback. I think just the natural synergy that she has is that she's super synergistic with a lot of DPS units. She is best in slot for like basically every highlight dealer, and that is important to note because there are quite a bit of them, and there are more that will get released, and so that makes her really valuable with Miku, who synergizes really well with those characters. So I'm still gonna say that she's like one of the best with Miku in terms of synergy, but this is definitely not. This is a huge hit. I do think that even if you're not getting the 3rd activation, having some flexibility can still be good. Like, I think you can use like your highlight on turns 2 and turn 6. You can stretch them out. You can do 3 and 6. Like, there are some ways where even though you're kind of not getting that 3rd activation, but you're still at least getting some flexibility there. It doesn't feel great, but we will live with it. I also moved up Turbo because her extra turns synergize really well with Miku's base kit in terms of her skill 1 and skill 2. She wants to have a lot of those extra skill 1, skill 2 activations because she has 12 in total different bonuses she can give you. And you're not going to have all of those bonuses active unless you're going to like A2, but it's really nice to have a lot of those extra turns, so that gives you flexibility for when do you actually want to activate that virtual concert. When do you want to activate the different skill 1 and skill 2 bonuses? It's more flexible. The highlight is really good, so it synergizes well with that. It gives you a chance to play around with her kit in a way that other characters kind of can't. So I actually really do like Turbo with Miku, and I think that her synergy is, not only is she like a universal support, like it works really well with the kit in a lot of different ways. I think I just forgot about this last time because I'm so used to like just using Anj, and Anj is just like skill 2, skill 1, or skill 3, skill 1 until you beat the enemy. So it doesn't really do anything differently, but it's closer to Futaba, where with the additional turns, you can actually change up how you're using those like primary skills before you get the big damage turns. So she's going there. And then wind stays the same. Wind doesn't really change. You just have to change when you're using the skill 1 versus skill 2 if that's what you want to do, if you're trying to change the rotation so that you can stack both of her other skills that aren't skill 3 together. So she's still there. She's still good. And then with our debuffers, again, nothing is changing with the debuffers. Same thing, same rule applies. Matoi does have the same synergy with the highlight in terms of getting the additional debuff. And Rin and Howler kind of don't, so they're there. And then Cherish doesn't change. Marion doesn't change. None of these characters really change, except for Yukari does, and so maybe now it's time to talk about these characters. Okay, so we got a new chart up here, and as you can see, I have updated the values for the highlight, or the theurgy, to show how the rotation is changing when you're using Miku. And so we're getting those big damage turns on 5 and 6, not on 7 and 8 like I thought. Although, really, the only thing that's changing here is where you're getting your highlight or your theurgy energy. So it's, you're getting it on turn 2, and then you wait 3 turns on 5, you get it, but you get double, so you get 70 back on turn 6, and then because you have 70 here, you can use it again here, so you get 2 cadences out of it. It's nice. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that you could shift your Miku activation of skill 3 to turn 6 and turn 7, so that you would get your cadenza here, and then turn 6 you would do this here, but you wouldn't be wasting the additional theurgy energy, so you'd get 70 here, but then you'd be getting 100 here. So honestly, like, if you're not using Yukari, I don't think there's really anything you can do about wasting 35 theurgy energy. You just gotta live with it. Having Cadenza up for 2 turns instead of Ordinary for 1, I think is better. I think because when we did the damage test a couple of videos ago, it showed that it was better. So yeah, I think this actually works a little better. It is 3, you know, it is 3 theurgy, so it isn't changed. So nothing there, but you know, you do get at least a little something to think about in terms of where do you want to use your theurgies. Yukari though does actually work really well because you can get this like crazy stack bonus on turn 5 where you go, you know, normal, get your theurgy here, get 70 with Yukari, and then you have 100 here, but you can hold on to it, and before the next turn starts, or like whenever, like on Wonder or Twins or Windfast, whoever isn't Yukari or Mikoto, have them go first or second, and then use Cadenza there, and then you charge his theurgy with Yukari, and then you charge it with the natural charge that comes from Miku in the start of turn. You can activate a second theurgy in the same turn. Boom, you've got your Cadenza and Ordinary stacked all into one. And then on turn 3, you get that huge damage bonus, and then you get Cadenza again on turn 7 for another big damage on turn 8. And I really wonder, you know, Yukari is one of those interesting characters where I don't think she can get additional Whisper Wind stacks to get 35, but if she could activate another Whisper Wind stack somehow at A0, like I know at A1 you can get it, and if it's A1, I think you're getting 5 anyways. Like you get an additional stack, so you get, you know, here. So you would be able to activate an additional Ordinary here or whatever. Which, hey, A1 Yukari is a beast, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't seem worth it to me, but I think just having enough energy to get this 1 stack on 5 and 6 is huge. Like that's a really big damage bonus. Then you're again the same thing with the other awareness stuff. You're getting the double theurgy, you're getting the double highlight and highlight refresh on turns 5 and 6. You're getting a ton of value out of Miku's higher awarenesses by having this character that I thought initially maybe doesn't benefit as much, but I mean, the getting double basically theurgy charge is like crazy. And Yukari, she gets to use her theurgy twice. She uses it, you know, what, here, and then she charges it again here, and then charges it again here because she uses it on turns 2, 4, but then she gets it naturally charged on 5 and 6. Like, that is, I don't know if that does anything. And like, using multiple isn't like a huge amount of damage. I have to check the kit again, but I don't know. Maybe there's some way to finagle it around. Seems interesting to me, but Mikoto definitely is better than I actually thought, and so is Akihiko, because Akihiko gets 3 theurgies with Yukari instead of just 2. He gets a full extra 1, and he knew he was gonna get an extra one with Miku, but he can actually rip it on turn 6 for a stack with the punch skill. He gets big damage on the turns that you want him to get big damage on. In fact, I think I need to change this. This should probably be theurgy needs to be shifted to turn 5, and then use it on turn 5 when you start the Ghost Concert. So hold it on turn 4, use it on turn 5. Then on the span of 2 turns, you're getting 2 theurgies back to back when you have the big damage turns. I mean, that just seems to me really, really valuable. So, and then of course with Yukari, you're getting 3 theurgies, and you can get. I put the rotation up here where you're losing out on that last skill 3, but if you use the skill 3 on turn 2, it is a lot less damage. It's like 4 million per hit to like 1 million per hit, but it is still a good amount of damage, and you're still stacking all your damage on the big turns. So a lot of room for Akihiko to grow, a lot of development, or a lot of potential for Yukari. So I think the Cease character is way better than I initially expected. Unfortunately, I'm thinking off the top of my head, what are some of the upcoming Cease characters we're getting? Well, we're getting, obviously, Fuka. Doesn't work well with Miku because Fuka is a navigator. Shocker. And then Mitsuru, which Mitsuru is more of like a sub DPS. I don't think her having any like, but she doesn't get as much buffs from the theurgy because she's not dealing as much damage. And I think her theurgy buffs kind of come every turn anyways, like every other turn. So it's like a 2-turn rotation. I don't think this really does anything, but I could be like completely wrong and I'm just, you know, spewing BS. But regardless, it's a little unfortunate that we don't have any other like really cool theurgy characters that synergize super well with it. I'm thinking it's possible that Shinji or Shinjiro will like get a huge buff with this, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be dealing a lot of theurgy damage. If I had to bet, I would definitely bet that he would be doing a lot of theurgy damage. So maybe that. And we know, on a little side note, we know that Miku's buffs for CN, because she gets the Mindscape core active immediately on the CN version. Like her buffing is like crazy over there, because right now Miku's kind of gimmick is what's carrying her kit. Her gimmick is really, really strong. Having an extra 2 turns to rotation is like really, really valuable. But the actual values for her, like her damage buffs and her crit rate buffs or crit damage buffs, like they're actually not that good. They're kind of meh. That was what really shocked me. Like Anj has really good buffs on top of having a good gimmick. Miku's gimmick is stronger, but it's really like her buffing is a little more lackluster unless you're kind of, pushing her character to A6 or whatever. I mean, even that's more gimmick focused than buffing focused. But her CN version has so much in terms of what her buffing capability is beyond just the gimmick, that I think any character that's shown here that's going to be good with her, I think is going to have such a better lifespan, because we know in a year's time Miku's Mindscape is going to bring all of these characters back in relevancy. So little side tangent there that we've learned about, but yeah. Make some final edits on my tier list. Mikoto is going into high. I don't think I can put him into best just yet. I'm really considering it. And I'm going to put Yukari up into good. I'm going to put Akihiko up into good. I just think, even though, just because the big damage comes at the same time that her buffs are all active, and he's getting that theurgy support, I just think it's too. And because the theurgy got buffed on global, I just think that's way more valuable than a lot of these other characters. So that's gonna be my general update to this tier list. Again, it's not a tier list of how strong these characters are. It's just how well do these characters work within her kit. And I think that a lot of these characters work really, really well with her kit, even though at first I thought it was gonna, this was a total nightmare. I was like, this character doesn't work at all. All these characters kind of suck with her. But it's really just, you have to figure out how to actually do the rotation, figure out how you stack the buffs, figure out what you want to do with the highlights. And I think that's the most interesting part of this game, and is what keeps me entertained the longest, or keeps me playing. So that'll be it for today. If you have any questions about any of the characters, let me know. I'm gonna work on some Miku Sea of Souls or Nightmare Gateway guides sometime soon. I'll probably do a guide for Miku on every single side. So that'll be the I think we have the Rin and the Rin and the Akihiko bosses up right now. I don't have Rin, so I'll do the on rotation, and I'll also show what it looks like to have Mikoto as like a single target against that. But in the meantime, this will hopefully suffice as a little explanation of what you're supposed to do with Miku's rotation. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. See you later.